All right, the show is back with. By the way, we're gonna with the most patient man in America, Matt Mosley. We taped this interview with him before. Somehow we lost it. We don't try to put on airs over here. Technically, we've had some issues. Matt, thank you very much.
No worries. No worries. I blame it all on Mike Hamilton. Anything that goes wrong, it's his fault in my mind.
Well, the guy's not even here, but I like blaming him too. Um,
Yes.
all right, so Mosley, this is, and honestly, this is only today what I have you do this again because it is so important. I was thinking about it. I was like, if I'm going to call in a favor, it's going to be today because it's so important. What's going on with the Cowboys, and the fact of the matter is whether they were going to move forward quickly or slowly. What do you know about the process right now? And maybe you have an update from the last time we talked.
That's right. This just in. They they have had a team meeting earlier today, and that finished up, I guess, about 20 minutes ago. And basically, they're doing kind of end of season checklists. Some of the coaches are talking to players, some of the position coaches, and that type of thing. So they have met today. Micah Parsons was just quoted saying something to the effect of, "I'm, you know, I'm as in the dark as you guys are on what's going to happen." So while he has lobbied for Mike McCarthy, let's remember. I mean, I think he does want McCarthy to come back. Let's remember that he famously or infamously said several weeks ago he was talking about, when before Zach Martin got hurt, wanting the best for him, and he cared more about him than anything that happened to Mike McCarthy because he thought Mike McCarthy would be fine no matter what. So if that remember was a pretty big story a month and a half or so ago, because it just seemed like he was throwing the coach under the bus. I think since then his actions and his words have not suggested that he wants to change the head coach. He also interestingly said that he thought Mike Zimmer might ride off into the sunset. So he seems to be. I think he wants Zimmer back, but he kind of acts like maybe he thinks Zimmer's done. So I thought that was interesting, but that's the way the process is. I mean, other teams, you've seen it already with the Patriots, just did it immediately yesterday. Doug Peterson gets fired today, although they're keeping their GM, which shocks a lot of people. Jerry's timeline, generally on these types of things, is just more. He just takes more time than most GMs. So
Can I ask you,
again,
can he afford to do that from the standpoint of the other coaches out there? Like, like the candidates that are out there. If he does want to let Mike McCarthy go, doesn't he have to speed it up a little bit because, the access to other candidates that are out there?
yeah, I don't think he sees it that way. I mean, I think what you're saying is logical, but almost nothing this man does follows logic. All right. So, I mean, even that rambling, long visit he had with reporters yesterday, I mean, that thing went all kinds of different directions. So, no, he's not going to be on anybody's timetable except himself. I could see him making a decision during one of those wild card games this weekend because he loves the attention that it gives the organization and him. So, and by the way, he was on he's quite an actor. I have to hand it to him. I don't know if you've seen these clips yet, but the show that's on Paramount called Landman.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've been watching it. It's actually pretty good, but I haven't seen him.
He's in it. He's in the most recent episode.
Have you been watching the show?
Yeah. He's in the hospital room with John Hamm's character, and then Billy Bob Thornton comes in. He just goes, "Oh, hey, Tommy," or something. Like when he walks in, and like Jerry delivers this like unbelievable dialogue. Like you'll be stunned, and it's like I think he missed his calling. I mean, he's not much of a GM, but golly, he's quite an actor. Like, I mean, he had me kind of emotional. I mean, it was a tour de force of an acting job.
Hey, that's a fun show. That's a fun show, by the way. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I don't know. if you got a 17-year-old daughter like I do, the show makes you pretty uncomfortable at times.
You said it. You said it. All right. So candidates, big name candidates. A guy who was spending time, where my brother used to live in Hermosa Beach a lot. Pete Carroll out there, out down there, or in Manhattan Beach, and then John Gruden. Those are other big names. Is there any chance they pick up steam over the course of the week?
Well, I think you have to look at like the friendships and that kind of thing, and I think Gruden and Jerry are pretty close. I think Gruden does want back in. I think that's an easy sell to the fan base just because of Gruden's, just who he is and how he comes across. And I mean, just immediately you think of having a lot more fun, watching his press conferences and the way he would kind of conduct things. I mean, I think it would give the organization some juice. I mean, it's been a long time since he's been that successful in the league. So let's not act like he's just like some kind of Belichick or even a Pete Carroll in that, because he's far removed from that Super Bowl, way farther removed than even Mike McCarthy was when he arrived. So I think you have to understand you're sort of getting – I think people would be more excited about like Gruden, the TV personality, than Gruden, the coach. But that said, I think people would be on board with that. And, the Pete Carroll, even though Jerry is still operating at age, whatever he is, 82 or 83, Pete Carroll's a young 73, just the way he carries himself. That just does not seem like something Jerry would do. That seems a little, I mean, as great a coach as he's been, that just seems a little out there to me. I think, and I don't know if those guys are that close. So anyway, I would say Gruden over Carroll.
Oh, and one thing for you, the Jerry, Dion, and even, Troy Aikman, you've told me before as somebody who Jerry would lean on. In a moment like this, one of the people around the league that he takes advice from. What would Troy tell Jerry about Dion, you think? I mean, what do you think that conversation sounds like?
Well, I think Troy is a huge supporter of Dion's, but Troy also has a keen understanding of everything that comes with Dion. And Dion was not exactly always, he did not always have Troy's back when the two played together. In fact, there was one pretty well-known story or after a game when Dion basically kind of called him out. And I think it really upset Troy. And again, they've moved past that, but I'm just saying, if they were having a private discussion, I think Troy would tell him, you should keep McCarthy and not bring in Dion. If he was saying, what do you think I should do? I think, again, it's hard to say exactly where Troy would think on that, but while I think he loves and respects Dion, I think he would probably think that Dion would be better suited for where he is right now than as Cowboys head coach. That's just Troy may disagree with that, but that's just where I think Troy would be.
Two more questions for you, then I'll let you out of here. You've already given us a lot of time. All right, so in a week from now, and going forward, who's the head coach of the Cowboys?
I think it probably ends up being McCarthy.
Okay.
I think Michael, again, it's a safe choice. He's there. The only thing that could change that would be if Jerry has a change of heart, or which can happen, or somebody comes after Mike. There's a part of me that thinks Jerry almost wants that to happen because that gives him cover. For one thing that Jerry loves about these stories of people maybe thinking Mike would be a good candidate, it gives him cover to bring him back. because he can say to the fans, see, we've got a guy that other teams wanted to hire. And I think that would make Jerry feel better about bringing him back. And I don't know if the fan base would agree with that, but I'm just saying that's what Jerry would be thinking.
What are your feelings on the future for Dak Prescott, regardless of who the quarterback is? I was having a moment myself, just knowing football the way I do. I was driving back from Flower Mound to Waco last night, and I was listening to some of the sports talk. And, you know, of course, you get the crazy callers saying that they should trade, Dak Prescott, right, and see if they can get Myles Garrett for him. But it did get me thinking, you know, maybe Dak isn't the future of this organization. How solid is his footing?
Well, I mean, now that Jerry has invested the huge money in him, he's the most solid guy in the organization. I mean, what Jerry is capable of doing from a year-to-year basis is just completely. Jerry's like a cornerback in some ways, a good cornerback. Like he has a very short memory in the sense that only a few weeks ago, he noted that the Cowboys were not good even when Dak was playing. Jerry said that. Last night, Jerry was the one saying the reason this fan base should have hope is because they have a great quarterback. And so he always believes he has to stick up for his quarterback. And now that he's invested this enormous $60 million a year, he can't, there's no alternative. There's no trading Dak. I mean, there's nobody that would give up 2 first-rounders right now for Dak Prescott. It's just his stock is way bigger with Jerry than it is elsewhere around the league. And I do think he has some supporters around the league. But I don't know if Dak's ever going to get him there. I might tend to think not. But I think Dak Prescott's the quarterback for the Cowboys for at least the next 3 seasons.
Who would be the most fun to cover coach-wise? Who do you think?
I think Gruden would be kind of fun. I mean, I've been around him. I used to have to go to all those Monday Night Football games when he was calling those games. And I mean, Tirico was with him, as I recall. And man, I really love being around those guys. And so especially Tirico, Mike is just I mean, man, I would hear from Mike all the time and do a lot of stuff with him. He was, I don't know, what you think it was play-by-play or whatever,
awesome.
But I love that guy. But anyway, that's beside the point. I think Gruden is, I think he'd be my favorite. Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, people in the media are humans too, and they
right.
they would like a change. I mean, they'd love to hear a different voice. So, I mean, Mike's fine. I mean, he's a solid dude, but I think everybody would love to hear a different voice. So probably Gruden would be a fun one for sure.
All right, you got to hear Matt Mosley's voice this afternoon on ESPN Central Texas, and of course on the Doomsday Podcast. I can't wait till he writes a book. For real, I talked to Cam about that. But that's coming in a little bit. You wait till you're an empty nester in a year. You're gonna be right. Those fingers are gonna be working again. I'm looking, and we're all looking forward to it. All right, Mose, I appreciate it. You need me, you know where to find me. Thanks, man.
All right. See you guys. Thank you. All right.
That's Matt Mosley. We are the Pete Souza Show, powered by the Rogue Media Network. We'll check you out after these words.